Detractors believe that an accomplice was using artificial intelligence to determine what moves Niemann should make and then sending signals to a vibrating set of anal beads, which Niemann is accused of having inside of him.
Oh, man. SOS up your ass. That's amazing.
Right?
That's
Night to Queen
Nice
But
Night
he's like,
before.
as it keeps going, though, he just gets more into it. Like, he's like,
When he finally wins. Then he finally, he's like, checkmate.
he's just sucking on a pond.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast with Jackie and Jonny. I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Jonny DeVito.
And I'm Ty Wasana.
Oh, Ty! There he is.
You guys running in. Okay, right on. Fucking sliding into first. I like that. I like where we're starting. I like the vibes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And while we got you here, why don't you click that like button?
Do it.
Subscribe, leave a comment. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review.
Leave a nice comment.
Leave a nice
Leave a
comment.
nice-
You know what we don't need? I don't need some comment about the algorithms being whatever.
Oh, yeah. Just tell us your opinion.
What happened?
There was
Am I missing something?
some guy commented like, why is this showing up on my recommended videos after Come Town?
He was so happy.
I was like, because I know how to manipulate the algorithm, sir.
Yeah. And then it was like, hate to break it to you, bro, but by commenting on the video,
you're boosting
one, you
it
helped
more.
us out a whole time, so we appreciate
and then
that.
He tried to backpedal. He's like, oh, that's great for you guys. I think it's great. You're, doing your thing. I just get kind of frustrated when this, the caliber of content is clearly not to be compared and all.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, he went hard in the
we're getting
paint,
a harsh
man.
comparison to
Hard in the
Cumtown
paint,
right now.
Yeah.
So
You
make
like
sure-
Cumtown? I've never listened to them. They seem
Yes,
like it's very funny.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
they're
cool.
doing through a whole thing, but
Hey, well, they're doing their thing. We're doing our thing. Shout out to the guy that hates us because I think that's cool. It's about overcoming, adversity.
I do love
if that guy, listen, bud, buddy,
Let him know.
if you like and subscribe, we'll send you a tour T-shirt that we have left over. How about that?
Hell yeah.
How about that?
Absolutely.
You should like
There
and
you
subscribe,
go.
sir.
Yeah.
I'll send you a free T-shirt.
Only if you are a medium or a large.
Yeah. Something tells me it is a large.
I was
gesture.
Yeah.
And you're just commenting on our. You're like, "No,
harsh, yeah.
I don't like the algorithm telling me. Yeah.
But I love a hater on YouTube though.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
There's nothing like
When
it.
I
Yeah,
just,
anybody that's the type of person to leave a comment, I'm not really doing a whole lot. If I'm watching a video, then I'm usually doing some other shit.
Who
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm not really gonna. I've never left a fucking.
Yeah,
comment,
who leaves comments? I mean, all of you guys should,
You should.
comment.
You
yeah,
definitely should.
because as previously mentioned, it
But,
really helps.
it does really help,
Yeah,
It really does.
but if I don't first of all, there's no situation where a video I don't want to watch comes up and I watch long enough to be like, I'm gonna fucking leave a comment.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that.
But,
I wonder how far he got in.
Yeah.
I'm
right?
How
really
far did he
curious.
get in
Well,
before he was
so
like,
you
not for
only
me?
need to watch fucking 30 seconds before it counts as a view. So
I would love that if this, that's one way to handle it is leave a negative YouTube comment. But I think that's the problem with the world that we're in right now, right? Because you can do much more damage from the outside, right? So imagine this fella watched this video, was it wasn't up to par with Come Town or whatever the fuck he enjoys, and then he comes in, moves to Vancouver, but infiltrates the friendship and then ruins the podcast like that by sowing lies and deceit amongst the group. Some kind of like an espionage situation.
Oh, you think this motherfucker's breaking up this power trio?
No, it's not going to happen.
You
I'm just saying I would like
you
to see
think
that
this
rather than
piece of shit is gonna come in our world?
this guy's lucky that he can fucking hit one key with those fat fucking fingers. That's
Right,
the,
yeah.
He's got other problems, but I'm
He
just
needs a
saying.
dialing wand, bro.
Oh, totally. If there was somebody else out there that is hating on a bigger level, then I would be curious to see if they could, because we're tight like that. You know what I mean? You can't-
the other comment that I got recently on YouTube when I uploaded my clip there was from user I am not your father, commented.
Oh, that's so nice that my dad was commenting.
Andy, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
He didn't come out to any of the shows, but he watches all the clips from afar.
Commented.
Yeah, like a Phantom of the Opera dad.
Not your fucking dad has like long hair and an eye patch too, like a fucking beat up jean jacket.
Yeah, he wrote, "Modern day Western woman in a nutshell." on my clip. And I wrote back, "Oh my God, I thought you were my father. Thank God you clarified." And then he replied, "Thank God I'm not."
Oh, wow.
Goodness.
I was like he called you a Western girl. Like, did you then send him your picture of you wearing your Shania Twain top?
Oh, yeah.
The fucking tassels
Yeah.
that we bought
I
in
should've.
Cowtown? Yeah.
Yeah, I should have. But yeah, leave a comment. Follow us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I don't have COVID.
You don't have COVID, but you do have a cough. Yeah,
disease.
so I'm just curious. I'm loving that you're taking the reins right now on this too. Like, talk it out.
And yeah, we got a great album to get into today, folks.
Absolutely.
But first of all,
Yes.
the story of one man, one chessboard, two men, one chessboard, and a string of anal beads.
And science.
And science.
And science. Like, I mean, I think that like we're not here to yuck anybody's yum. As I love
Never.
that. But there's a lot to break down here. Can you get into this, because I'm very excited to talk about this.
So, chess grandmaster accused of using sex toy to cheat and win against the world's top player.
They're always going to try to attack you. Know what I mean? If you get to the top and they don't want you there, you know what I mean? They're always going to come after you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So rumors are circulating that a 19-year-old chess grandmaster used vibrating anal beads and artificial intelligence to defeat the world's current top chess player, Magnus Carlsen. What a great name.
For a chess player, yeah.
Great name. Fantastic accusation, though, too. I mean, like, this is insane. In the world of chess, I imagine that cheating at when you're competing at such a high level would be very difficult. So this accusation is
I want to know how people landed on this.
Is what?
You know?
Okay, so what's the full
Okay.
accusation?
So chess prodigy Hans Niemann, 19, fiercely rejects the accusation that he cheated in his win over Carlsen on September 4th at a tournament at the St. Louis Chess Club. St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Before
St. Louis.
You can find me in St. Louis, where the gunplay rain all day. Fucking Nelly's That Country Grammar is a great album.
Before its loss to Niemann, Carlsen, 31, boasted an impressive 53-game winning streak. Carlsen's loss reportedly occurred during the Sinquefield Cup, the final leg of America's longest-running chess tournament that features a $350,000 prize pool.
A lot of money on the line.
A lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Carlsen is a 5-time chess grand champion and was made famous for being a chess phenom since the age of 13, according to the Riverfront Times.
Regular Bobby Fischer in this bitch.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It sounds like he's Bobby fishing in his ass, though.
Yeah.
With his beads, bro.
No, this is the champ. This now we're going to talk about the competitors coming in.
There was even a documentary film centered on him titled Magnus.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
Following his loss to Niemann, Carlsen shockingly withdrew from the tournament. Niemann was accused of cheating almost immediately after his win. Detractors believe that an accomplice was using artificial intelligence to determine what moves Niemann should make and then sending signals to a vibrating set of anal beads, which Niemann is accused of having inside of him.
Oh, man. SOS up your ass. That's amazing.
Right?
Right?
That's Knight
Rook,
Queen
Knight
Rook.
But he's like,
before.
as it keeps going, though, he just gets more into it. Like, he's like,
When he finally wins. Then he finally, he's like, checkmate.
he's just sucking on a pond.
I love because I mean, so for. I mean,
Jesus Christ, that is brilliant,
right?
Right?
Because cheaters always get it, and I think like the classic scene from Casino when they're kind of going over what happens to cheaters at a casino. There's a few kind of cool ways that they used to do it, like back in the 70s. And one of them was like radio transmitted, like SOS thing, where you'd have somebody sitting behind the dealer, kind of doing the like a Morse code situation to the player at the table. And then they break his fucking hands with it.
So this accusation has spread beyond the chess world, the chess enthusiast circle, to become a widespread internet rumor and meme.
Some would say gaping.
Yeah, gaping.
Story.
Yeah. Even Elon Musk has joined in on the fun, tweeting, "Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one can see. Parentheses, because it's in your butt."
Attaboy, Elon.
Elon,
Billionaire
a bit of a
Elon Musk.
You know that guy's into butt play, though.
Oh, dude, of course. And honestly, who isn't into butt play? If it's 2022, if you're not into, that's totally fine.
I mean, mainly
But
because
this is
he's an
fantastic.
alien.
This is butt play at such a fucking at such a different level. Maybe
This puts a different
I
spin
would-
on the word butt play.
I would go as far as
kind
to
of-
say that this wouldn't necessarily even be play. Like this is a point
Well,
where if you're
It's
looking
helping you play.
if you're-
Exactly.
absolutely.
It's a different kind of play.
Oh, yes, yes, but you're taking the sexual out of it, because I would love that
It's communication.
if this this competitor that knows that he cannot get past Magnus, the champion, 13 fucking years in a row or whatever it is, without kind of coming up with some strategy. How am I going to beat this man, right? So what was always interesting with like when I was like cheating on a test in high school or something was that the amount of preparation that you put into cheating, if you would have put that same amount of time into actually studying for the test, you'd probably pass the test.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
of course.
So instead of buckling down, you know what I mean, and playing his heart out, because this young man in the final pool of 10, I believe he was ranked the lowest, and would have been like statistically his odds of beating Magnus were.
Right.
He had no fucking chance, right? So when Magnus loses, he just harumph fucking walks up out and drops out of the tournament completely like a bitch.
Yeah, what a fucking...
So the internet refuses to believe that this young man could beat the champion, so they have to come up with this story, because there's no hard evidence on the table. Nobody stripped him down and fucking and gave the
I'm a
gave,
little
gave
hard.
those
Well,
beats
that
a big,
evidence?
There's,
that's
I
like,
mean-
how else do you know? Because like if you go back to
There
the tape,
is technically hard evidence.
but like did the kid walk up from the table, like stand up from the table with a
Well,
boner? Like did
we,
he get the win at checkmate, and then all of a sudden
Fake a
he's
stomach
just,
cramp?
he's just
Yeah.
rock oh
What was your go-to cheating technique?
There was a few of them, and depending on the teacher, you would have to have like a few different things, right? Like there was the dumbest one that I ever saw was a kid that basically tried to have the like the outline of a shoe print cut out on a piece of paper, and he could like move his shoe over and move it back or whatever. It's right on the floor,
Terrible.
wide open. Dumbest thing
Terrible.
I've ever
So
seen.
dumb.
Terrible.
Compare that to
It's all muddy.
Yeah,
compare
right.
that
rips
Yeah.
4 questions in.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Compare that to like the girls who would like holler like any kind of, like they'd call a teacher a creeper or whatever for looking at their dress. Like they could like cheat up a skirt and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was the move at my school, since we all we had to wear kilts as uniforms, and the kilts had to be a certain length or whatever. So the move was to write it above the knee or whatever, and then kind of
Totally.
move
I
the
was like
kilts.
I was honestly like a pretty bad cheater when it came
Yeah,
to
I was
the,
a fucking bad cheater,
so
dude.
like
I was not good at it.
I tried like a few different
I
things.
just
don't
failed and
remember-
accepted it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
summer school, we're good.
I think I was just gonna take the L on that, but like a few of my buddies put like kind of cheat sheets behind the like water bottle, like the you get like a little Sprite or something and put it back there. It always came to the point that when I was like preparing for like the cheeks, it's always like a last minute cram session when you're trying to like get this little cheat sheet together, and then I have like a pretty good memory as far as like repetition and stuff is concerned. So like if you're when it came to like I always kind of did okay, I think.
I wasn't I never really cheated in that, like I would like go in being like, I'm just gonna cheat my way through this test. Like I was a pretty good student, but if I was like in a test and like didn't know the answer, I would do like the hard like side eye.
Oh, I'm
and just
tall. I
kinda
got a
peek
bird's eye
over
view
it.
of everybody's
Yeah.
page. I would definitely be
See,
peeking.
that was part of me, because I wasn't tall in high school. I was like a short kid.
Dang, I'd be right over your shoulder, bro.
It wasn't until I
Yeah.
went to college, but then by then I was like, oh, I'm paying for this, so I actually want to be here.
That was
Yeah.
another thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you get to when it's your money on the line.
Yeah.
It always seems stupid.
Niemann denies that he cheated, claiming he has never cheated in an over-the-board game. Don't know what that means.
Well,
A couple
it-
backdoor
Under
games
the
he's
board.
played.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little controversy from this young man's early career where he was cheating
Well,
in
okay,
online
we'll
situations.
get to this, we'll get to
So
this.
if he has a history of nefarious
Yeah.
behavior,
If they want me to strip fully naked, I'll do it, Niemann reportedly added. I don't care.
I'd prefer it.
Yeah, because I know I'm clean. You want me to play in a closed box with zero electronic transmission? I don't care. I'm here to win, and that is my goal regardless.
He's just such
How
a
old's
dork.
this buck?
He just wants them
19.
No, God,
Yeah.
I think that
this
he
kid.
just wants them to build him like a Magneto
heel.
jail
Yeah.
cell from X-Men 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Let's
Yeah,
play
it's
him.
Hannibal like their glass fucking
Yeah.
jails. Yeah.
Though many have accused Niemann of cheating, no one has provided concrete evidence. However, it does appear that Niemann was previously banned from online chess websites for cheating when he was 12 years old, something he does not deny. It must be embarrassing for the world champion to lose to an idiot like me, Niemann said during an interview following his
Hell yeah.
win. I feel bad for him.
Wow, this kid's cutting promos.
Oh yeah, dude.
Among the 10 chess players who are participating in the cup tournament that day, Niemann was reportedly the lowest rated and least likely to win against Carlsen. There's no question that Niemann's win over Carlsen is a statistical anomaly. So there's no
Basically, the
explanation.
chess world
I'm
hates an
confused about who
underdog.
quit.
The Magnus.
The Magnus. So once he beat Magnus, who was like set to win this whole tournament,
Yeah.
he's on a 53
Oh, because
game
he
winning
still had
streak.
other games to play.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's like,
my
yeah, one-
question
Well,
is
I mean, he's
still-
sitting at the
one-loss
same table as the guy. He
elimination
just keeps,
Yeah.
he just keeps fucking feeling like
yeah.
over the table.
Yeah,
I
there's
like
like
this.
who
I'm out.
arrived at this theory, and it's like, so if the theory
Could
is
have been in his
basically
shoe. It could have been attached to it. You know what I mean?
like
Any
no,
other
no,
part
no,
of his
he has
body.
anal beads up his ass, and someone is using like artificial intelligence to read the moves. That's what I don't get. It's like
There's
their
such a
whole
freak on the
accusation
board,
is
right?
that
Like,
like
yeah.
their whole accusation is that someone else is feeding him the moves to play, but it's like. Then who's this guy? Shouldn't he just be playing the fucking game if he knows it? Like,
Like, no, actually, I
Yeah.
think it would be up to the person to run the like whatever AI,
Just the just
you
running
know,
the
whatever
AI.
program that is there or whatever. So he would basically just be keeping track of the game as it's going, and then that AI system would learn this Magnus's like playing strategy probably over a period of time, probably before
okay.
even that they even began the game or whatever. Right? Like
Right.
this thing was probably like studying his moves or whatever, and then could predict the next one at the time. Right? So. That is such a fucking complicated strategy that it's cool as hell.
yeah,
and
the
like,
anal beads. It's like who I
that
need to
there's
know
a freak
how
on
they
the fucking like
yeah.
whoever's in charge of
They just got
of-
this like cool new set of anal beads that like because there are those sex toys where they can be controlled like remotely or whatever, and
Oh,
there's
yeah,
like
shouts to
crazy
Weebot.
shit where it's controlled like through an app, so
Yep.
you can be
Yeah.
fucking on the other side of the world
Yeah.
and doing this shit. And so clearly someone just got like this new set of anal beads that was gifted to them or something, so it's on their mind, and they're like, oh, I know what this guy's doing. They
It's-
have
well,
these
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
anal
What I
beads.
can't wait
I-
for is like I'm gonna get so many ads for vibrating anal beads now. My phone's right here. Right here.
You're just gonna
it's heard
get
anal beads a lot today.
Oh, if that's just gonna start for you, man, then you gotta your algorithm's about to
Yeah, maybe I'll leave a good comment.
like and subscribe. I think that you would if I'm a fly on the wall in the room of the judging committee here at this chess organization, I want to know how long it took the guy to come up with that.
Yeah.
answer. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's like, how could it be done? Well, clearly it's an advanced AI system running through a butt plug in his hands. And you're like, Jimmy, where the fuck have you been all weekend?
And then
man? Like,
how did that? Because it was like just an idea someone threw at the wall or whatever, and then it got to the point where they're like, you know what? I think the anal bead idea is making a lot of
I
sense.
kind of
now."
like it because it's like the old and the new have joined together, right? Because there's not like
Yeah.
AI, all that stuff. Oh, it's
Totally.
future, all that
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more old-fashioned than just putting
Sticking a
something up your
finger-
butt,
yeah.
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
True.
I
and
mean, it is
and
yep.
chess too. One of
Yeah.
the oldest
Totally.
games. You know.
Totally. I mean, it's exploration, it's adventure, it's taboo, it's really everything that kind of like makes like a good and exciting story. But on the other side of the fence, like we need more information. I personally think, do we know how did the kid go on to win the championship?
That isn't in the article,
because
unfortunately.
you know what, that's the
And
problem with
has he faced Magnus before? I imagine.
right? 'Cause,
Yeah,
like if
he
you're getting
must
shit
have,
kicked, right? Like if that kid, I mean, you say when
That's
he's
what I mean.
18
If
or
he's just like
17 years old.
absolutely dummied this kid like
Yeah.
a bunch of times,
Yeah.
he's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" He's definitely got something up his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you think about chess pieces, are kind of like anal beads, or just like anal
They
plugs
are.
themselves. Like
They
you
are.
work your way
Yeah.
up, you gotta worry. They start with a pawn, right?
Totally.
yeah.
It's a
Maybe he saw
Maybe a
this,
bishop, right? You probably work your way up to the king.
Maybe Magnus.
I'd go queen. I mean, it's got
Yeah.
the you know what the crown on the
Magnus one time like walked in on Niemann like diddling with some pieces one time. Maybe that's where this theory started.
I think that if you're like a young chess pro, right? Like I think it's up to you to know your game inside and out, right? To really live and breathe that thing. So I mean, I wouldn't look at this young man differently. Holy shit! I just remembered that on.
I have anal beads up my ass right now.
No, baby, company tools. It's in the drawer.
Holy shit.
Yeah. My alarm's going off. My pizza pop's already.
Knight to E5.
There's a great video of competition chess pieces that they make them, I believe, in a factory in India. There's maybe like 300 people that work at this factory, and they start on it's like a 20-year apprenticeship or whatever. So like only the most skilled craftsmen at this particular warehouse can make or factory, whatever you want to call it, to make the kings and the queens or whatever, or take a tremendous amount of skills, say, compared to a pawn. So some of these people would be like making pawns, you know what I mean, for 5-10 years, watching like a master make the next piece and stuff like that. So there's only like maybe like 4 or 5 people or whatever that are like, fully licensed to even make these pieces. They're so intricate. There's so much work that goes into these things. They're so beautiful. To imagine this kid sticking them up his ass is hilarious. It's a great video on YouTube or something like that. You look it up. But
I also just love that, because if you think of like a chess tournament or like whoever this like table of chess masters who run this tournament is such like an uppity organization for them to then land on this fucking theory.
Totally. They had a whole movie about like how they couldn't handle a black
And
kid
chess
win.
community, can we stop saying grandmaster?
Yeah.
Good call, dude. Good call.
Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like that's why Bobby
it's
Fischer had so much trouble breaking into the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the fucking entire story right there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think that there's like a serious sense of elitism, and obviously they will give like shine to like the young prodigy. You see like pictures. I don't remember know who it is, but there's a picture of like this like young kid who might be like 10, 12 years old or whatever, playing like 12 old fucking chess masters or whatever at the same time, right? So like, and this Magnus dude or whatever was the young prodigy at that time. Now, was it tongue in cheek for this 19-year-old kid to say, "Oh, you're gonna beat by an idiot like me" or whatever? Because like I feel like he's cutting promos, like he's turning heel hard after that. Because right now, nobody.
Way to shake it up in the chess world.
That's exactly it. He's Happy Gilmore, right? They're not going to kick him
exactly. So do you think
Magnus is Shooter McGavin in the office right now saying he's ruining the fucking game?
Yeah.
And he's like, we've never had this many eyes on competition chess right now. Look at us talking about it right now.
Yeah, that's very true. It's
Magnus.
Yeah.
Oh, we're breaking him down.
I like how we've turned here, because originally at the start I was like, "Fuck this kid," and now I'm like, you know what? He's shaking it up.
He's
with no evidence,
invigorating
right?
some new energy into the game here
100%.
in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and fucking innocent until proven guilty. This is a wild accusation with zero fucking evidence.
Right?
So to say that this kid, like, I mean, it's absurd for him to, like, he might even be taking the high road of this, being like, I'm not even gonna fucking acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even
Though
gonna.
it
like,
would be hilarious if it is true.
I hope it's true. In my heart of hearts, I hope
fucking
it's true.
figured it out too.
Totally,
like
dude.
that's the wildest thing
I mean,
I've
how
ever heard.
do they figure out? Do they play this 10 games?
I would assume that I don't know how
Like
they
him and Magnus, like just to figure out, like, well, you know, if he gets
yeah.
hooked
No,
10 out of 10, it's like,
well, if you'd be able to go to the tape, I imagine, in competition chess. I'm sure it's like all over
his
like, so you could set up this AI thing to watch hundreds of thousands of his matches if they're televised or on YouTube or whatever the case, or if he'd been following him that closely, right? So
how did Spelling Bee get on TSN before chess?
That's
You know
a
what I mean?
fucking
Yeah,
great question. I
that's a
think
good
because
question,
kids will pass out and it'll get wild, right? So I think in a sense of
But I feel like there's an equal amount of autistic people in chess as well than there is at the spelling bee
yeah.
that are going to be
Big
passing
time.
out left, right, and center, right? No?
I think that like they made poker exciting with
the hockey strike goes on, yeah.
with the announcings and all, or sorry, with like with fun announcers and really kind of bringing you like
some
into
characters.
the game a
There's
little
some
bit.
good characters
Yeah.
too in the
Great
World Star.
characters,
Yeah.
man.
I feel
Absolutely.
like chess would be like entertaining because I feel
I
like
think a
people
lot
are
of them would
kinda
kind of be
into-
sitting like this. And,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But I think it is
But you
quicker than we think it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Especially
those
those
dudes.
high-level games.
Yeah,
they
because they've
go
got a
real-
whole fucking
Yeah,
hourglass
there's a
there.
little- Yeah, they have the little.
Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
clock
Oh, yeah.
cutters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always wondered what that was like. Does it like, is it like a minute timer? Is that thing stop? So as soon as like the person
It might be a
presses
minute.
the button, does
I
it go
think
does
it
it
is.
start the other person's
yeah,
timer?
it stops. Stops it from going on forever. I guess. So I don't know if it's a minute, but it is like a timed
Oh, cool.
thing. I think.
You guys ever
I don't
play
know.
chess? Like you guys ever in a chess club?
Yeah, in
Not
an
in a chess
elementary
club,
school.
but I definitely played chess. I had a really good Simpsons chessboard actually.
Oh, that's
it was
cool.
cool.
Hell yeah.
In
Yeah.
elementary school, there was some big chess times. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't even like a chess club. You know, in like elementary school, where all of a sudden you're like forced to do something.
Yes.
Yeah, and then so chess became a thing. There was like chess tournaments held at
Yep.
the elementary school and shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was in third grade, and my friend Matt Larmer, at the time, his mom was our third grade teacher. So she was also ran the chess club that was also taking place in my third grade class. So like for whatever reason, at the time that the real Slim Shady dropped out, and we were all trying to be like, what is he saying when it's like like we were trying to, we thought that he was saying something and it wasn't a record scratch. I remember that being and, like listening to it back and forth or whatever, trying to find out what it was. For whatever the circumstances were, I ended up getting into this chess club, being very, very bad at chess.
Yeah.
So I went. I would go and we would play or whatever at the allotted chess club meeting time or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a hard time thinking that I would have gave up my lunch hour for it, but whenever it was
Perhaps
Whatever
there
it
were
was.
sandwiches.
perhaps yeah.
Perhaps there were anal beads
Interesting.
involved.
There had to have been some perks.
some sort of
spread.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely something going
A
on.
young DeVito going, is that pastrami?
Yeah.
What, I got to play this fake game? Whatever I got to do?
What am I gonna do to get my hands on them sandwiches? So we ended up going to a different school. I believe it was like Castlegore, so like a half an hour away,
Right.
to go play in a chess tournament. Now this entire time that I'm in this bus, I am shitting my pants because I'm like, there's no way that this is gonna happen. And there was even people on the bus being like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just going there. And I had to be in a gymnasium set up with a million different chessboards and all these kids from all these different schools that just ran train on me. And like I was getting fucked up by like kids in grade 1 and shit like that, dude. Like so bad. So bad. I didn't win a single game until I sat down with my friend Manish Kular, who's actually a doctor now and a very kind soul, because he just gave me a win and we just were just bullshitting. We lived like 2 blocks away from each other. So he's like, you're having a rough time out here, huh?
You need this one
And so
here.
he's like, he'll put a chess piece out and I'll move my thing and he'll be like, shaking his head, no.
That's
so
awesome.
bad.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah,
That's
Manish
dope.
was the fucking man. That was the.
Yeah.
That is the equivalent of a hockey game, like a young hockey game that like the one team is just getting smoked, and then like the coach tells the other goalie, he's like, well, you let one of these in. Already.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 11-0. You don't
It
even
was,
shut
it was
out.
bad, and I think that I don't know what happened like throughout the course of the day, but I remember going there with the group and getting a ride home. I think early. Like I honestly think because there was a like a teaching assistant at my school, and her name was Mrs. Saran, and she was a very nice lady. And she would always bring in Indian food and shit like that. She was very cool. So I remember like at some point during the day, she just drove me home.
Yeah,
So-
I don't gotta be.
I don't.
there.
Yeah. So I at some point somebody's like, "Who's the kid that's like not has?" What the fuck is
That's
this kid doing here?
so
So I had
funny.
so maybe if like that tournament was going to go through like the entire day, if I made it to like maybe like 10:30 or 11,
Right.
and somebody's like, he lives like 20 minutes away, get this fucking kid out of here.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
yeah, cut
I
him a
just I
break.
couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't like I was even getting better throughout the course of the day.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still
it's
look
first
at
game.
it.
First game. He'll warm up.
You're either gonna have to drive this kid home or shove some anal beads up his ass.
Where were the anal beads in an AI algorithm when I was in the 3rd grade? Is what I'm
Johnny
saying.
rolls up in 4th grade, trying to swinging him around.
Let's play, bitches.
That's great.
Yeah, so chess is it's one of those things that like I've always like wanted to be good at because people that I
It
admire
is,
talk about it, like like hire like the RZA and shit like that or whatever. But then you meet people like that are gonna get to chess that are just fucking dorks.
Yeah, I just like don't.
There's a pompous attitude about it.
Totally.
I've still be like, "Gotta do it." I'm like, "Yeah, you're just okay. I get
Totally.
it. You're
There
smart.
is
Okay."
like
Totally.
what it is one of those things where it's like, oh, I wish I was good at chess. Like that would be so impressive.
The same thing when people show you how many books they've read. It's the same. 100%. It's the same vibe. It's the same fucking vibe.
Yeah, it has that thing. Like my brain never gets like a moment of rest or whatever because like I'm working hard on the things that I love to do or whatever. This would be like comedy and stuff, you know. So like I've like a direct focus at that, but there's still a lot of things that I would like to be great at.
Totally,
and not even just like I have visions of myself being a fucking rock star or something. And you're just like you're never gonna do it, but like you want to, like of course, like why the fucking on me? Oh, there's a fucking reason because you've owned that guitar for 12 fucking years and haven't fucking committed. Not even close to enough time to fucking even learn how to play it efficiently or effectively, right? So same thing with chess. Those pieces have existed. And like I sat down with my friend Danny Crema. Fucking shout out to DC, man. So I'm at his house. Our moms are best friends. He's basically my cousin. The kid was in my fucking delivery room when I was born, right? So I'm at his house for one of the million sleepovers that we had throughout our childhood. And he breaks out a chessboard. And he fucking kicked my ass so hard over the course of like an hour or something where he's just like, look at me in the eyes and he's like, okay, so now I'm going to beat you in 4 moves. Watch this. And then he would. And he would just stunted on me for so long to the point where his mom's like, hey, why don't you guys play something else? Like she can
We've got these anal beads in the closet. What?
Yeah.
Why do you guys play with these?
Hey, Johnny, come in here.
We always had chessboards in the house growing up. And so I remember playing like quite a bit with my brothers, but like my older brother is really good at chess because he's like a thinker, you know?
Yeah.
Like so like
I think both of your brothers, you don't give Kelly.
No.
She's
Kelly's
very
super
smart,
Kelly's
yeah.
super smart too, but me and Kelly as kids were both so like hyperactive. Like we did not have the fucking patience for chess. And so we would try and
we're
play.
checkers family.
Yeah, so we would try. I remember
Okay.
I like try and play with Justin, and Justin would like want to like master the game where it's like I just wanted to win, you know, and so I just lose patience and fucking knock the pieces over and walk away.
Totally. Yeah, definitely.
I'm more of a battleship kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah.
My brother had a battleship one that you could put water in and it'll squirt you in the face when you sing the battleship.
That's cool.
Electronic talking battleship.
Damn, it
That's
squirted
dope.
you in the face.
Yeah, you get a little facial.
With a little shake weight
Little
style.
fucking dude. It was
all
awesome.
right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Interactive game. Oh, when I was at the dildo store. When I was at the dildo store putting in a sink the other day, for listener context, I'm back working as a plumber, and I'm not just there, just doing it out of the goodness of my heart. So we got called to go to this dildo store to put in a sink, and they have like a novelty section because my buddy he gave us like a bunch of like free like samples of shit or whatever, right? So it was a bunch, very cool, very nice individual. But my buddy wanted like some more stuff, so he's like, "Oh, dude, I'll give you like a 15% discount on anything in the store." So we're in the store, and the guy that I work with is getting like this full tour from this guy, like walking around, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm checking out shit on the wall or whatever, looking at nipple clamps and whatnot." And they have a game that is basically you put it on the tabletop, and I don't know what you fill into it. But there's 2 cocks and they're pointing at across the table, and you jerk the cocks off, and so it's like a fucking it's like a Rock'em Sock'em robot.
It's like
situation.
a Don't Wake Daddy situation.
Yeah, and the fucking totally, and like and you go, and I don't know how it decides who goes faster or whatever, but the loser gets a cum shot at the face.
That's
it looks awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
Hold on.
So fucking
We get
funny.
a 15% discount on this?
Oh,
Man,
dude, totally.
okay, this
Fantasy
store is
Factory in New West. Shout out Fantasy Factory.
He like gave Johnny like a bunch of vibrators, but it's like these fucking Gen Z vibrators that'll just like fucking buzz your pussy right off. Like,
Dude, we just tried, man.
Insane.
Yeah. We've been
Turn the
around.
thing on. I was like,
Totally. Right? We've been around and back for a minute and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like, there was. I mean, hey, there's a time and a place to get fucking wild, but this was Wednesday afternoon, and there's no low setting on anything that this guy gave me.
Like fucking get off of me.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Totally.
Makes
And
there's
there's
steel.
yeah.
The same guys who make that fucking chainsaw.
I know, right? And there's one that has like a sucking motion or whatever, and it's supposed to be really cool and shit. But then you just realize that you're 32.
It
like,
is
not
not
yeah,
cool.
No, you just realize that you're 32 and you don't know where that thing even is.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Yeah, I feel like they've like sometimes they'll overcomplicate sex toys, and it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, you just don't have to.
Yeah.
There's like,
yeah,
give me the
crazy.
hits, give me the classics.
Yeah,
Totally,
yeah,
100%.
exactly. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
that guy lives such an interesting life because he's such a like a chill, like regular dude. He doesn't have like a creepy kind of vibe or whatever. His parents got into this into the game in like the early 80s. So his dad had the first sex shop ever in BC, I guess, or maybe even Western Canada. He wasn't sure, but it was right on Hastings Street, and the dad kind of had this greasy kind of attitude towards it because that's kind of what it always was, right? So like, you know, kind of a trench coat with the collar up and the hat down, and you kind of go in there, brown paper bag or whatever, and super greasy kind of like jerk off booths or whatever, right? Like it's like the seedy kind of thing. And this guy, he kind of butted heads with his dad a lot because he was like, no, you want it to be like boutique-y and nice and well lit and like inviting for everybody to come in. Your market share will fucking go through the roof, especially now with like
Everything's so sex positive too now, right?
Everything's
sex
There's a
positive.
time in the 90s where I'm like, okay,
exactly,
I get it.
right?
Yeah.
100%. You want it to be like safe for everybody to come into because there's like there's different markets, especially with like LGBT and stuff like that. There's so many different
It's the same
things
with like,
and communities or whatever that you can appease to. So this guy was like basically trying to like revamp this this thing, and I'm looking at this like store that we're in, and the outside is kind of fucking like it doesn't look great.
kind of seedy.
Yeah, totally. And so we came back there on a Monday, and I said, "How's your weekend?" And he's like, well, fucking every time something goes wrong at a store, they call me. And I was like, oh, how many of these you got? And he's like, oh, I have 7 of these.
Oh,
wow.
shit.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So the warehouse that we were putting the sink in was like, I was laughing so hard because the boxes are so big of all this shit that they have like tubs of shit called Fist It and stuff. And I'm like, this is your fucking life, man. And he's just like, yeah, like he knows we're giggling about it. So he's like, you know, you guys want to see something crazy? And I'm like, yeah. And he just kicks this box. He's like, this is 50 pounds of fuck toy right here. This is just like it's like an ass and pussy. And that's the way that he would describe like everything.
That's awesome.
Because he's just so matter of fact. He's like, yes, you can get like, you know, these like rubber ass and pussies that could like go on the. He's just like explaining it to me in a very matter of fact way, not like a creepy way. This is just his business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, man. Like,
It's like-
but there, as far as overcomplication is concerned, the amount of variety that they have of just like it's a rubber dick. There's a rubber dick, but like this one goes like this, and this one fucking you know has like stars and glitter on it, and this, you know, or whatever the fucking case is.
The to your point though about like kind of making it more inviting now, it's like the same idea as like dispensaries now.
Totally.
Like before weed was like legal, it was like
Yeah.
this like dark kind of weird place you would walk into and
Yeah, I
feel like
missed that.
super sketchy
100%.
about
I
it.
missed that.
Yeah, and
Totally.
now they're fucking
Yeah.
lit up like Apple stores.
Yo, if you're wearing a fucking apron,
yeah,
you have one of those
right?
barber aprons,
like
and
a
I go to the
glass
dispensary and you have a
counter.
barber apron, I get out.
Yeah.
I'm
There's
out.
like
I'm done.
iPads
We're done
that
here.
yeah, I feel like I'm not allowed to touch
The
anything.
containers that just have the
Yeah.
sniff thing, you just put it like,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
All of this,
So
all
gross.
of this is just so that you can mark up an eighth of weed for $50. It's
Totally.
absurd, right?
And it's
like-
horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I don't
shitty
know
weed.
if there's like a tourist market for it, or people just have too fucking much money that they want to give away. But there's
Well, I
so
think
many
it's people
better
like
options.
I
if
think
you
it's not our generation. It's like
Yeah,
someone like, you know, like my dad's generation or
Yep.
whatever. Where it's like I would either now that it's legal, it's like yeah, like I'll, you know, buy like some weed, try it out. They're not gonna walk into like a fucking
Totally.
blacked out
Yeah,
store,
right.
you
Sort of
know.
like meet
Yep.
some
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, there's a
yeah,
market
yeah.
for everything, right? Like you can
Yeah.
go and buy a fucking, I don't know, like a fucking Ford or something, or you can walk into like a Lamborghini dealership and stuff too, right? And I think
Yeah.
you're gonna expect different levels of service at each thing or whatever. So if you're trying to sell weed or whatever, they're trying to sell like a lifestyle around it and stuff. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, fair enough, right? But that's like always happens. Even like clothing stores. You ever go into a clothing store? They're just selling like T-shirts and shit, and there's only like 4 on a fucking rack and
Oh,
like
yeah.
a, and
Oh,
a completely
yeah,
white
yeah,
room
yeah,
and
yeah, I
stuff.
love
You
that,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
The
All of
fucking
it.
the sneaker
Portlandia's
store,
shit.
the sneaker store that we went into
Oh,
in
yeah.
West
Oh, yeah.
Edmonton Wall. As soon as we walked in, I was like, oh, I shouldn't be in here. This
I
is
just
Yeah.
felt
yeah.
bad for Ty because you
Yeah.
love something, and then but you're
Yeah,
just in a
yeah.
place that's just designed to kind of fuck you out of it.
Yeah.
Where
I
it's
know,
all
it
like
sucks.
fucking
Or like an overpriced record store.
13-year-olds
Sucks.
There's
working
so many
there.
of those like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, even when we saw it from outside, I was like, oh, I kind of know what this is gonna be.
Yeah.
There's one like that exactly the same in Metro Town. It's the same
Yeah.
vibe. But then there's
So
other
weird.
spots like shout out to fucking Sneaker Box in Metro Town. That is a shoe store like hip hoppy fucking
Yeah.
like just, you know, like streetwear store that doesn't have that fucking vibe.
Okay,
it's way less like Mac store looking.
Yeah.
It's like the lighting's just chiller and like the people are really nice and they just get cool shit. It's not like, oh, I have to have this. Like you have to have this one fucking type of shoe when there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's trying to get this one thing. It's like, well, no, everyone's gonna wear different shit. Like they've got all sorts of shit there, and they're like,
it's all like shrink wrapped and shit. And then
shrink wrap is hilarious.
So
I'd
never
cool
seen that
vibe
before.
for the kids or whatever.
They're
like,
all
feel
like
the
fucking
coolest kids in high
13
school
years old singing along to mumble rap, like not wanting to talk to us.
Fuck, these kids are cool.
They're just like, well, are you gonna like? What do you think? You want to like cop those? I hate it. They use like that terminology too. I'm like, okay, dude. Like, Like, I just don't. No, like I was alive when these shoes came out. That's why I'm getting them, not because like. Oh, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't get the drops in like and like all that. I don't. I just probably whatever.
It's it's the same thing with like a kid that was like born today that just gets into like Star Wars on his own that wasn't like pumped in it. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to be like a part of something and shit. And Nike checks look fucking cool, man. I get it, but like fuck, like
the whole it all comes back to fucking Gen Zs, like this generation. I fucking
get rid of your fucking shrink wrap shoes and your dillies and get fucked over there. All right?
Exactly.
But shall we get into this album?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes. I brought in Funkadelic's 1970 debut album, Funkadelic.
Hell yeah. Oh my God.
Man. Jesus Christ. This album means so much to me. I discovered it through hip hop by listening to 90s hip hop and realizing that all these samples were from Funkadelic albums and all that stuff. I believe the first album I brought in when I was a guest was Mothership Connection.
Yeah.
So that was the first Parliament album I was into. Where notes? First Parliament album I was into, and this is the first Funkadelic album I heard. And it's a lot different than kind of the rest of the Funkadelic stuff. This is more just like a band, like a band. Just
it had, I think like with like funk records that I've heard or whatever, especially something compared to like Mothership Connection was like that's a statement. This is the funk, like welcome to the, kind of the zone, almost like it's an experience like a Dell album or something, like Deltron or something. Like
this feels like more like a live recording than it does of than like a produced, like with all the weird, like, once you get into like Parliament and later Funkadelic albums, it's all like, weird space noises and crazy fucking like lasers and crazy shit happening because George Clinton just being high on acid, being like, I'm throwing all this in, and they're still high as fuck on acid right now during 1970 when they're making this album, but it's not as they're not like as fucking balls deep in it. They're such a young band too at this point.
Well, at this point, so this is the first one, right? So like if this is like the jumping off point for all the weird that they were going to get into, like
and this was like George Carlin George Clinton do this all the time. George Clinton was like, he was like a doo-wop guy in Detroit. He did a doo-wop band, and then it was just like he just as the 60s progressed and that started fading out, and he started experimenting with drugs and all sorts of rock and roll and all sorts of shit, and then this shit started, and he's like Miles Davis in the regard of like, my favorite part about Miles Davis music and George Clinton music isn't necessarily Miles Davis or George Clinton. It's the people who he's picked to be in that band. Totally. And they're so good at just like, these are the best motherfuckers to have. Like you put Count Basie in your band and you put all these fucking people. And he did the same thing with Funkadelic in Parliament. The biggest one for me being Eddie Hazel, who's a guitar player. Huge influence on like so many great, like Hillel Slovak talks about him. Dean Ween is like, that's like Eddie Hazel is a fucking man, and like Eddie Hazel ended up going fucking kind of crazy and all that shit, and he gets replaced later by Michael Hampton, who's an amazing guitar player as well. But Eddie Hazel, like his guitar playing alone is just like, it's some of the best shit ever. I don't think he's ever really, no one ever mentions him in the top like 3 or 5 or even 10, to be honest with you, and that's ridiculous to me.
Well, as a guitar player, like what kind of circles are you talking about? Because to me, the best guitar player would be like something that I've seen live or whatever, like the way that like Chris Hanna can like fucking like shred solos and scream and stuff like that. But that's completely different. He would look at these guys and be like, no, these are fucking. It was interesting on that Taylor Hopkins thing. Dave Chappelle opened up the Taylor Hopkins tribute concert, and they were talking about a time where they went after a show to a jazz club, and Taylor is sitting there with his son, and they're both just watching the drummer and kind of having a conversation about that. And Taylor looks at his kid and is like, or I think the kid says like, "Oh, you can't do that, Dad," or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, like these guys are the shit."
These are real musicians, or whatever is what he said.
It's interesting to see. Like, so do you see that? Like, how do you? Where do you like sort of? If you want to keep going or whatever, if you want to think about this, like, where do you stack guitar players and how? I'd be interested to see that.
So I like there's definitely like styles I would like lean towards. There are amazing players like there's guys like Steve Vai and like Joe Satriani who I'm like, okay, there's no question you are. I just fucking hate listening to your stuff.
Yeah,
like, I just don't.
dude.
I don't like the sweeping
45
shit.
minutes long fucking Joe Satch album.
And there's tons, and there's a ton
Sounds
of
the
like,
same.
and like Steve Vai's in Zappa's band and all. Like he's got a crazy history, and I respect this shit. Again, one of those
or like
cases.
a Buckethead situation.
I respect the shit out of it, but I just don't fuck with it. Like it's just too much for me. There's a ton of metal guitar players like that. I'm like, it's just too busy for me. I can't do it.
Carrie
It's
King
just
fucking
like
rules.
just
but-
leave a fucking some space or whatever. For me, but I don't know. I have a pretty eclectic, I'd say. Like for me, my top guys like Hendrix is definitely up there.
Yep.
Eddie Hazel is up there. John Frusciante is up there.
Hell yeah.
So that's the Hendrixy side of things I definitely like.
Yeah.
Eddie Hazel's kind of in that same. It's like psychedelic kind of guitar, but being able to do rhythm and lead kind of solos at the same time. But then I love Django Reinhardt too. That's like one of my favorite guys ever. And he's just like some gypsy out of France from the 20s who's
Never
like,
heard of him. Yeah, that's cool.
He's fucking
okay.
I'll bring in a Django Reinhardt.
Put us on to the shit.
He's like Django Reinhardt is the dude who he's the most inspiring and like you also get super bummed out. So he's this gypsy who was like a violin virtuoso when he was a kid, and he's like straight up gypsy in France, like lives in caravans, the whole thing. His caravan burns down one night, and it fucking mauls his hand. So his hand's like hella like fucking just morphed, and he's only left with these two fingers, and he can't really like play the violin. He goes to the hospital, and the gypsies break him out because they're just convinced they're gonna kill him because he's Roma, right?
Oh, wow.
So they break him out, and they like bandage him all up and all that stuff. So he only has these two fingers, and he just decided to like learn guitar.
Wow.
And his style of playing guitar, because he only has these two fingers, he does chords, everything. It's fucking nuts.
What?
But it's like these minor 6 chords. His style of playing. If you heard like gypsy jazz music, so he's in like cleaning commercials and shit like that.
Okay.
It's like his style, and like he's had to play scales. Like instead of being like this way up the neck, he has to go like this way up the neck. So it is kind of more fluttery and stuff like that. Yeah, so you see him and you're like, this guy's amazing. He's only got 2 fingers. You're like, I fucking suck. I've got 4 fingers.
I've got over double the amount of fingers this him.
And I don't know. So I don't know. I definitely lean towards more of those styles like that Hendrix and Hazel and those kind of guys for guitar players.
I think like because I'm with you there because I like the song rather than like the over showcasing of like virtuoso level talent. You know what I mean? Like
I don't like wanking.
Cool.
I don't like wanking.
No, that's why I like
never
punk rock
got
because fucking like a lot of the solo shit or whatever is just fucking. It's like overindulgent and shit. Like tell me something. I'm there, especially being lyric focused and stuff like that or whatever. I'm there to.
And don't even there are points in this album and definitely in later Funkadelic albums where like in Mega Brain where it's like it's just a solo of it, but it doesn't feel like wanking. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think it's
like
own,
a different because it's still because Mega Brain is the album that I first listened to of Funkadelic, and there is so much like good guitar playing in that album, and it is like very extensive, but it's still like because I don't know anything about music really, so it's just like what like kind of speaks to me and like feel it, and so I have no problem listening to like a full fucking song because it like you can feel it versus like when someone just fucking
Mega Brain especially. So his is probably the most famous song
and
that solo, and like I don't know, have I told this whole like of like how George Clinton explained to him how to play it?
No.
Oh, this is fucking deep, dude. This is like so they're in the studio and they're recording Mega Brain, and it is just basically a whole Eddie Hazel like story told on guitar.
Yeah.
And the whole story is he's like, I want you to play this song, and this is like how like you have this like you're with your mom, and it's like this amazing. You have this amazing, and then your mom dies, and then it's like you weep and you go through all this mourning and like just and then at the end of by the end of the song, she like comes back to life. And then you like rejoice with her, and it's like that's like the feeling of the whole fucking song. And it's like being high as fuck on acid and steer. They'd be like, okay.
Do you
have that moment of like, was there a connection there to be like, yeah, I got it, and then he leaves the room and you'd be like, what the fuck is it?
You totally can feel that though, like that. It's such a journey.
It's such a storytelling song.
Fucking 10-minute song or something, right?
Yeah, and it's unreal. And then so when Michael Hampton took over for Eddie Hazel, they were like they auditioned so many people, and no one can help like no one can do it, right? And Hampton played Mega Brain note for note, front to back, without looking for anything, and they were like, "Okay, you
found
can
the
be in
guy.
the band. Yeah, Hans was unbelievable too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eddie Hazel, man, fucking. There's so many people on this album too, and it's really great. And there's so many great. There's great new sounds on this album too. Like it's not fully like funkadelic-y yet, but they have these like that song like I Got a Thing, and it's like got that sitar kind of sounding guitar on it, and it's like that's like a really new pedal at the time. So they're already experimenting with crazy sounds and shit, but it's all very analog, very not that it wasn't in the like later 70s and stuff, but it was just less produced and felt like more on the fly, like just a live recording of the band.
It seems like a group of people just like having fun.
The whole album sounds like they've just there's so many good country style shit in it.
I was
too.
thinking that because
there's like some real good. Hey man, I was on. There's like the whole there's so many great like talking intros.
Yeah.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
That was the moment when I heard that. I was like, I've heard that at a fucking
and that thing.
So good. Yeah.
Sampled on a Brother Ollie album. That's fucking.
It's so good, dude. There's some. It feels like they recorded the whole band in one room. It doesn't feel like they've done it separately of like, oh, we record the drums today and then do this and then lay down the bass and then do this. It was like, oh, it feels like everyone's in the same room and they just put a couple overheads over everything. And it's that big boomy sounding.
All,
it's like they're in a big ass room and like there's the bass kick, the kick drum sounds like it's fucking so big. Yeah, it's just beefy. It's such once I really discovered like this album, once you discover through hip hop and stuff. And then go back and listen to it. It's still one of these albums. Like it's front to back. It's just fucking amazing.
It's crazy because the way that I discovered Parliament and Funkadelic was through the Chili Peppers, obviously, and it so like speaks to George Clinton's influence. It's like on Freaky Styley, the Chili Peppers album that he produced. Like you could even in the song that we were all listening to, Yertle the Turtle, you can hear like it sounds like a fucking Parliament song. Like it's so crazy, and again, it's like the all like huge sounds, like so much fucking going on in like one space. It's like his like influence over like everything that he does.
The Funkadelic albums always seem a little more stripped down than the Parliament albums. The Parliament albums seemed like a little more. Basically, what happened was if you wanted guitar, you would listen to a Funkadelic album. It was a little more guitar, and Parliament albums were more horn based.
Right.
So you get a little like you get a whole horn section, stuff like that. All the same players. So when you go to a concert, you just see everybody. And then by the end of it, it was like there were so many sub bands. There was the Brides of Funkenstein and like all these other like the whole backup singers had their own band.
That's
and then this is before Bootsy's in break. During this era, Bootsy's still playing with James Brown, I think. So Bootsy Collins isn't even in the band yet in Funkadelic or Parliament, and it comes like kind of later on.
That's fucking insane.
Tiki is, I think his like nickname is Tiki, who plays bass on this album, which is it's phenomenal. But everybody sings on this album. Like if you just look at like the notes on it, it's nuts. It's like everyone sings, everyone plays. It's phenomenal. There's a really good live video of them playing I Got a Thing, and it's like it's how fucking tight the band is. It's wild. But even then, they're already wearing like wild shit on stage. But it's not like as polished and not as like he doesn't have money yet, right?
Right.
So it's like once he got money to make Mothership Connection, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna drop every dime. I'll make it a spaceship for the road that we'll take to every show." This was just like, oh, we went to like a fucking bizarre novelty and like got a headdress and fucking like you know what I mean.
They're not like too far down the rabbit hole yet. They're like there, but it's not. Yeah.
That's cool. Now, do they have like I want to watch all the video and track that progression of like
just how freaky it gets.
Yeah, you can see the insanity, right?
Crazy,
because where were they at as far as like popularity?
1970. It's like that's not like goddamn. You're making this music in 1970. That's insane that you're able to do that.
It is. It's so crazy. Like because there's so much, like you said, like offshoots and shit. Like its own own world. Yeah, exactly. You can just get lost in like all of like the different bands and offshoots and all of that shit. Like there's so much going on. It's crazy.
Just within the Parliament Funkadelic world. That doesn't include like the Slies and the fucking everybody else. It's like
because like that's the fucking coolest thing about funk or whatever. Like the Family Stone, even there's 12 of those motherfuckers in that family or whatever. And like with Parliament Funkadelic, like the idea that like however many bands are rolling in there is just like these motherfuckers just play music. And they're not gonna, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, like that's what they do. They've just been put on this planet to just do that.
Exactly. Right. So they'll do it in any fucking iteration of the group or whatever, whether you're playing under whatever moniker and stuff like that. But like,
and even though this is before Mothership Connection, I still get alien vibes from it.
Totally.
There was a lot of it, like but like this is where this is like the first sighting in the country almost. You know what I mean? There's some lights in the sky.
Real, dude.
There's some lights in the sky. They don't know what's going on.
That's why because there is a bunch of country sounding shit on this album.
Totally different
Great
sound
call
than I was
songs and,
expecting.
yeah.
You know? And it was fucking it was cool because I think I think James Brown has such like a huge persona, and the Parliament record that you put us on to is a little bit more spacey and stuff, right? So like this doesn't have the star quality or not the quality, sorry, but like the like one man up front kind of thing. Like this, like you're right, this is a fucking band record, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's kind of contributing to the it's better than the sum of their parts or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
which is cool because even these they can have 10-minute songs, which normally for me aren't the go-to, but if the groove is still there and you know you're going through it, right? Like I'm not gonna like Fish will fucking lose me. You know what I mean? And
real quick.
Yeah, right. But this doesn't, right? Over the course of that 10 minutes, and I think
there's just so many good grooves in it, and it's like I could listen to this forever. It's fucking it's so tasty.
Yeah.
So many great organs. There's an overlying reverb of the whole album of just like everything just like kind of swishes in together and it's just like, but not overly where it's like, oh, this is like a cavernous sort of thing. Just I don't know. Just the whole album just sounds so like it was just in one kind of spot.
Well, it's interesting for like the origin story too, because there's some lyrics in one of the songs. I can't remember exactly which one, but he's kind of explaining like came from Detroit or whatever, and then went to New York and kind of like I was so cool or whatever, and slick back and all this thing. And,
yeah.
I mean,
That's what he was
like flatten my hair, and they're all laughing and shit like that.
Yeah,
or whatever, you know what I mean?
The
And now,
doo-wop
like,
thing,
right. So like he's getting into this like even kind of.
He had like three different bands and 3 different record labels at one point, right? Like Parliament was on one, Funkadelic was on the other, and the Parliaments, which was his doo-wop band, had another.
That's fucking crazy.
Which is like that's some Jay-Z shit.
Yeah,
in the fucking 60s, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
How like as far as I don't really know anything about like the history of like funk music and stuff like that. So like how big did they get for like that's a huge
pretty fucking big.
Like I mean how many members in the band plus a fucking spaceship at some point that they're
dude, there was 12
shit, right?
plus. Like it was the same kind of slide vibe. Like there was I mean, by the end of it, because when you went and saw a Parliament concert, even back in the day before it was like Parliament All Stars, and you got every Parliament and Funkadelic, you would still have the same members of the band. So just like the horn players weren't, or like Funkadelic would open for Parliament, or Parliament would open for Funkadelic, which is the tightest double dip move ever.
Dude, fuck yeah, man, they're taking home.
It's crazy because he had so much money at one point, and he just pissed it all away, like just with crazy fucking shit, and then drugs. Yeah, and that's why. Then the 80s came around by the Peppers and were like, "Can you do this?" And it was like $10,000 or something. Yeah, there was nothing. They paid him peanuts to produce it, dude. And he was like, "I'll take it. I need a fucking drug."
Yeah, for sure, I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Because he was always like in music videos in the 90s, you know, you'd get like, who is this man? You know what I mean?
Once the colored dreads started coming out and stuff,
You can see it now on him too. There's a recent video where the Chili Peppers brought him out on stage, and the Chili Peppers, they're not young dudes. They're all like in their fucking 50s, but they look like they're fucking running around like they're fucking 30 years old. Then they bring out George Clinton and love the guy, but you're like, oh. He's not aging well at all.
Yeah, the fucking thing is like he's been through the shit so many goddamn times that like you know what I mean, to the point where you had an AC/DC situation last day where you know what I mean, where you're forgetting the lyrics to your own songs. But I've seen fucking Nas, man, like doing Illmatic and he doesn't even know the words to some of this shit. Right?
Well, it's
so,
interesting. Like even a situation like in the Taylor Hawkins concert, they had the AC/DC and he was fucking couldn't get through a verse.
Brian Johnson, struggling a little bit.
Couldn't, and then fucking
Paul. I mean, the guy's like 70 something.
Yeah, but then fucking Paul McCartney comes out, who's fucking 80 years old, and it's because he's still touring.
I haven't eaten a face since 1958, so it's like fucking.
And he's fucking murdering, and he's fucking 80 years old. But the difference is that Paul McCartney's still touring, he's still making music.
Oh, for sure.
And it just speaks to like what I think. This is not really on topic, but it's like if you keep like moving and keep like living like you're like 30 years old or whatever, then you do stay young, and you see it in the bands that kind of keep touring and keep making music, and they.
Paul has also not been like, he doesn't have some fucking crazy coke fucking thing or booze or anything like that.
But Chili Peppers, they do like their background is fucked.
Crazy.
But fucking Anthony's on there fucking topless with a fucking 8-pack. Like Jesus Christ.
But you can see it in his face. Like they're all and even like in Flea's hair and shit. Like they're of course they're aging.
You see that they're aging, but I just mean in terms of the like their liveliness. And it's interesting when
you see John without a shirt on, you're like, oh my god. Those are a lot of tears in your arms. His whole top shit is just
crazy.
Fucking mangled.
Yeah, but it's interesting in a.
He didn't know how to do it because Anthony always used to do it for him.
Yeah.
And then like when Anthony was like, I'm quitting, I'm not doing this. He's like, I'll figure it out. And just like rip. Like it's like dude, not good.
You can see it in the Slane Castle. The Slane Castle video there. But it's interesting in a situation like the Taylor Hawkins concert where they have so many people coming in and just the differences of all these iconic musicians and some of them are as good as they've ever been. And some people can't fucking get through Back in Black.
Yeah. And can we just agree that Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age is a fucking dork? Like, that guy just rubs me the wrong way.
Apparently he's a huge asshole, but
he has that
fucking makes some good songs, though, dude.
He played.
Yeah. And fucking, I mean, it's hard to take Travis Barker seriously these days with his fucking personal life and how insane it is.
He's got the biggest Cuban link choke.
Dude, whatever. Him and MGK are fucking, or whatever.
Exactly. And, like, he's a Kardashian now and all of this shit, but it's like he comes out and plays drums.
Iconic drummer. I like the way that he hits the drum. You know what I mean? If you really like watch drummers.
Have him and who does he date? Chloe?
Courtney.
They're
married.
Have they been married for a minute?
No, they just got married.
I feel like
in Italy.
I feel like sometimes the Kardashians, just like the girls, like they get together and they're like, "What are we gonna date next?"
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
You want to date tattooed losers?
Exactly. Exactly. It's always either.
And then they're like, "Yeah, let's
NBA players, tattooed."
Yeah.
Okay.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Kardashians have two types, like really fucking skinny, like tattooed loser white guys or black dudes. That's all the only people.
I'm not mad at it because
you're a shoo-in.
Yeah. I'm a fucking loser.
A fucking skinny tattooed loser.
Rush over the first two.
I am a piece of shit. Shout out to my girlfriend Amanda. All right.
All right. Yeah, this was a great album.
Dude,
kicked
so much ass.
I'm glad you guys. I'm glad you guys like. It's a good driving album. It's not that we want to get in the car with each other anytime soon.
Fuck that, man. I'd go back.
I would go back.
Hit the fucking road right now.
Let's be back. Since we've been back, I will go back.
Absolutely. Anybody in the Vancouver area,
next time I'll just drive home the whole way.
I'm an emotional boy, and I almost
dude, for day one, I called an old woman a cunt on the ferry, so...
We're emotional boys.
We're emotional boys.
Yeah.
So anybody on the road, just fucking drive like in a manner that won't piss me off. We're cool, man.
If you're a highway, don't close.
Yeah. Basically, anything that I don't have the power to fix will enrage me the most. So that's something I go to work.
What do you guys got? Are we plugging anything?
Crossbones Comedy.
Crossbones Comedy. The next one is the 26th.
At the Admiral
Which
Pub in
might
Burnaby.
be the day that this episode comes out.
Oh, nice.
But it's every other Monday for now. It might start being every Monday. We'll see.
We would.
Other than that, that's pretty much it. All like comedy ring shows.
Just do the comedy ring thing. Come out to the shows. Depending on when this comes out, we'll be at Parts Unknown. We got a bunch of fun stuff happening for the fall. So go to comedyring.card. That's CARRD.co, and that'll get you. That'll bring you a link to all our shows. Are on Eventbrite or all that stuff. Use promo code RING and save yourself some money.
Roast battles are popping off.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're coming back.
Hey, let's we can touch that real quick here.
Get into it.
Current champ in the room.
Alicia Dillon,
the number one contender. She will be facing Jonny. Do something about it, DeVito.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many fucking battles do I need to win before I get to fucking battle for
thinking
the
about
belt.
a unification of belts, friends. Listen, we got to talk to the commissioner, right?
You know that battle might drive a stake through our home, but
Oh yeah, Jonny, we can't battle again. That's not happening again.
Yeah.
But
We're not breaking up the band for some other fucking shit.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm an emotional boy, but I'm looking forward to Alicia battle, and I've already.
She can do some good things here because she's got the Indian title on the tag team, and she could so she's got a lot on her shoulders right into this.
Absolutely.
But
Looking forward to it.
it'll be a good one. I think that will be in October. There'll be some fun Halloween shows, all sorts of fun shit.
Hell yeah.
Go check
Oh,
them
yeah.
all out.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.